talked about and everything that continues to happen. LiveBrooks.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There he is, Leo Gomez, the president and CEO of Brooks. LiveBrooks.com. One more time is the website. There it is, another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll be back again very, very soon. Until then, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ernie Zuniga. Bye for now.
Bye. Gracias.
Starts right now.
San Antonio has lost a local music legend, and the tributes are pouring in. A look back at Flaco Jimenez's life and legacy today at 6. But first, a San Antonio mother has found herself in more trouble with the law. The video you see here is footage of 33-year-old Ashley Pardo from just a few hours ago going before a judge.
If you remember, she's the San Antonio mother accused of buying ammunition and tactical gear for her son for planned mass violence at Rhodes Middle School back in May. Well, now, Pardo is facing a felony charge of abandoning or endangering a child with criminal negligence. And it has to do with a picture that she sent someone via text. Investigators with San Antonio police say that when they looked through her cell phone, they found said picture.
So in the photo, Pardo is seen pointing a shotgun at the head of a then 11-month-old baby. And the caption reads, quote, "Tell her to keep being bad." The baby's outstretched hand is touching or is in very close proximity to the barrel of that firearm.
And also in that picture, Pardo's finger appears to be the trigger guard of the shotgun. Now, according to an arrest warrant, her bond on the new charge has been set at $45,000, and Pardo has also been ordered to have no contact with her children.
It was a norm thing for them to be shooting and chaos there, but for someone to come out dying, murdered, that's something new. Something we've never experienced around here.
So neighbors are sounding off after a shooting that left 2 people dead and another person is in jail. It was a violent scene in Medina County. This right here is 35-year-old Adam Hernandez, and he was arrested today on multiple charges, including capital murder. Happened around 12:40 this morning, right here. We're going to show you. This is off of County Road 4636 over in Hondo. Medina County deputies say that a man and a woman were found dead with gunshot wounds, and another woman was found injured with gunshot wounds and then rushed to the hospital. We don't know at this point how that woman is doing. We also don't know exactly what led up to that shooting or even what Hernandez's relationship is with the victims.
It will be 10 years for a man connected to a crash that killed a motorcyclist back in 2022. 40-year-old Federico Chavez taking a plea deal today in that case. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says that Chavez hit and ran over 58-year-old Louis Fender. During the investigation, deputies found Chavez was driving recklessly at the time. Chavez was facing 20 years in prison, but took that plea deal of 10 years for manslaughter and unlawfully carrying a weapon in a prohibited place.
All right, now that it's 6:01 and 100 degrees, Adam, I know what you're going to say. We're just going to be seeing more of this, right?
Yes, we will. And actually more of what we have on the radar screen as well, because we have a few of those pop-up downpours out there. Weak frontal boundary dropping into the Edwards Plateau and Hill Country, and that's helping to kick off some of these showers. Generally north of San Antonio, but a little bit of lightning here, and you can see those white lines indicating the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes just outside of Dripping Springs, Johnson City, and westward along 290 as you get into Gillespie County and over toward Harper as well. This activity is going to last all the way through sunset and then pretty much come to an end thereafter, because these are very daylight driven, the kind that need the heat of the day to really help them out. But also I want to point out, These showers, they've kicked out this outflow boundary that's headed toward comfort, and this outflow boundary could generate its own showers just here momentarily. And even around San Antonio, I know we don't have anything at the moment, but there is the chance over the next hour or so that we could have a little bit of development. Some heavier downpours, parts of Edwards County, just outside of Rial County. Nothing problematic here, just quick splash and dash showers, and another opportunity tomorrow. We'll dive into the timing in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. You know, people across the country have been so generous in donating clothes and to flood survivors in the Hill Country. And now a boutique in the heart of Kerrville is taking that to the next level.
Yeah, it's actually setting up a store full of upscale brands for free. Our Courtney Friedman spoke with the manager about why a true shopping experience right now is so important for flood survivors.
Dreamy dresses and handmade pieces curated at a boutique in Kerrville.
People love Celia B, this designer. She's from Spain.
But this shop is not for the general public, and the clothes are not for sale.
The past month has been pretty crazy.
Heidi Kachera is the manager at CJ Copeland's. Next to its main store is usually a discount section, but now it's transformed into a space for flood survivors to shop for free.
The owner, Courtney McDonald, she had the idea to reach out to some of our vendors and ask them if they'd be interested in sending donations. She got a really good response back.
And an amazing response from the survivors themselves.
A lot of people lost everything, and you don't have to lose everything to shop here. Like, if you were affected in any way, then you can come shop. And we've had people try to find things similar to a dress that they had.
As far as donations go, this selection is elevated.
This dress is $195. It's a women-owned brand. They're awesome. This brand is Lafori. Their dresses are all in the $500-600.
And it's not just women's clothes. Come over here to the back of the store where there are babies' clothes, and this section here is for boys, and there's even donations for men that have come in by the dozens, all for free.
It gives people autonomy to kind of pick what they want into things that might actually be their style, and to just have some normalcy, to just be able to have the shopping experience.
And right now, normalcy, comfort, and a little sparkle is what this community needs. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
That is awesome. Okay, now we're going to go get a live look outside here at traffic. I-35 at San Marcos, where you could see different stories really depending on what lanes you're in right now. But the lane that you see there to the right heading towards the downtown area of San Antonio looks like it's a little backed up right now. We don't exactly know why, but that's the case.
Hey, you might remember this next story from earlier this month. An illegal pet kangaroo picked up by Animal Care Services after a report that the animal bit the owner's son.
I know it's a bizarre story, but now that kangaroo is out of quarantine and its owner has been told to move it outside of city limits. Well, our Madeline Lambert spoke with ACS about the bizarre case and also with the kangaroo's owner, who's saying that his 11-year-old son wasn't bitten, but scratched.
But I don't think any of us had any idea animal control was going to get involved and then everything else that followed.
This is Carlos Cavazos. Animal Care Services started an investigation after they were told his pet kangaroo bit his son.
We received a medical report stating that the child had gone to a facility to get treatment and then made contact with the family members that provided us multiple photographs of the injuries that the minor sustained.
Cavazos said his son was trying to feed the kangaroo, and as he set the bowl down, the animal reached to give him a hug, and that's how he scratched him.
Didn't bleed. It was just red.
According to ACS, any scratch or break in the skin is classified as a bite under Texas law.
Kangaroos are among the many exotic animals that are banned within San Antonio city limits. Other animals include wildcats, bears, coyotes, and monkeys, and there's much more added to the list.
Any animal that you're going to see at the zoo is going to be a prohibited species.
ACS ordered the kangaroo to a 30-day quarantine at the San Antonio Zoo and issued Cavazos multiple citations and fines. Lieutenant Bethany Snowden said this is the first kangaroo case she has seen in the 8 years she worked for ACS.
For my personal experience working with macropods and red kangaroos at the zoo, they're not always docile. You know, any animal, once it reaches sexual maturity, that behavior is going to completely change.
While kangaroos are illegal to own as a pet in San Antonio, The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says they can be legal as a pet in Bexar County with a permit from the Public Health Office.
He's just such a staple of our life here. I mean, we have barbecues all the time, and we have people hanging out. The kids love them. The kids are petting them.
But bottom line, ACS says kangaroos are prohibited in San Antonio. And just for context, they have issued 161 citations for illegal exotic animals in San Antonio over the last 2 years.
There are certain permits that you can get, registrations that you have to go through. Bexar County and San Antonio are pretty stringent, so there's no exceptions to the rule. They're prohibited.
Madeline Lambert, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, a few things. I dig the kangaroo wearing diapers. Also, if Steve Spriester was here, he would say he better hope that we don't take him to the kangaroo court. Just saying. All right, moving on.
Okay, should I give you the same side eye that I would give Steven?
You already did.
Okay, is the Micah Parsons era over in Dallas? The star defensive end asking for a trade. Mary Rominger will break it down, coming up a little bit later in sports.
And up next, there is truly no place like home. And you're about to meet a local mom who achieved a piece of the American dream, and she did it with help from a nonprofit. But before we head to break, legendary accordionist Flaco Jimenez passed away yesterday, leaving behind a powerful, powerful legacy in San Antonio and, of course, the Tex-Mex music scene.
Garrett Berger talks with Jimenez's brother and fans about the impact of the 86-year-old conjunto icon.
Flaco was a person that makes people happy.
As Flaco Jimenez's brother grapples with his loss, he knows that ache goes beyond him and his family.
That's why I'm worried about people that had a chance to see my brother. But my respect for them, too.
A musician himself, who even recorded with his brother.
This picture was taken at the Woodlawn Lake.
Santiago Jimenez Jr. says no one will ever be like Flaco.
When he started playing the accordion, when he was young, he was doing the old school tradition, my father's stuff. But Flaco wanted to show my dad that he could do better than that.
Jimenez was part of the Texas Tornadoes and played with an array of musicians, from Dwight Yoakam to Bob Dylan to the Rolling Stones.
He would fill up stadiums in Italy, all over Europe, with Ray Cooder and Peter Owen. And they're doing conjunto music. The difference was they're doing country music in English, but with accordion. In other words, it's conjunto with English lyrics.
Jimenez helped bring conjunto music to the rest of the world, but he's always been a proud son of San Antonio, and San Antonio is proud of him too.
We're going to miss him, and we're going to continue to listen to his music.
Irma Davila says she was raised on conjunto music, and her daughter's a teacher who even had Jimenez visit her first grade class back in 2015.
What was it like meeting him?
Oh man, I wanted to I was like, guys, this is the, king of conjunto, and I wanted to even give him a grito, but I don't know how to grito. So that's something I'm still practicing.
But she does know how to celebrate his legacy.
It makes you want to grab your dad or your husband or your brother and just start dancing.
Jimenez's song has ended, but his music hasn't.
Kendall County has completed its first 48 hours of cleanup. Coming up tonight in the Night Beat, an exclusive ride-along with leaders here taking us through the next steps 1 month after the deadly Hill Country floods.
16 families are moving into new homes this week that they helped build with help from Habitat for Humanity.
Sarah Acosta spoke with one of the owners of those new homes. She's a single mom and also a teacher, and says that she could not have done this without the work of the nonprofit and her son.
So take us into your home.
Come on. So this is my beautiful living room / dining area. Don't know how exactly we're going to set it up yet, but I know it's going to be beautiful.
Adriana Huerta is a single mom of 2. She has lived with her parents for 20 years with her daughter, who is now grown and moved out, and her 17-year-old son. She finally got the courage to apply for a home with Habitat for Humanity San Antonio and gets to move in with her son this week.
We were living at home with my parents, which I love. I adore everything that they have done, but it's that time that, hey, a door opened and I took the chance and applied for the program. And now I can't believe this is going to be my home.
The nonprofit has helped over 1,400 families since its inception in 1976. The program requires the homeowners to help build their homes, putting in between 250 and 500 hours of sweat equity into their homes and other Habitat builds. She says it was her son who pushed her through.
Beginning of the program, he said, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm going to go through the program with you and you're not going to be alone."
Adriana says at times, especially in the heat, the building process could be overwhelming, and she is grateful for the volunteers and other Habitat homeowners who cheered her on.
This is my home where I'm going to build memories, have my children over, my grandchildren in the future.
Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
So happy for Adriana.
Yeah,
awesome
welcome
news.
home. That's amazing. All right, look outside right now. We had a few showers out there earlier, Adam, but we've got some more chances to talk about.
Yeah, especially tomorrow afternoon between about 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's the sweet spot in this kind of pattern. Now, you look at the rainfall totals. It's in the hill countries where we saw most of the rain, a little bit in northwestern Medina County. But you look at Edwards County and some of the more recent rainfall totals here. Check out the dark green, 1.3 inches. And then you go just east of Rock Springs, an inch. I mean, we're talking just a few miles east of Rock Springs. The current activity that we're watching that's closer to San Antonio and pushing this outflow boundary into Kendall County. That's some heavy thunder shower activity. It could drop a quick inch or so of rain, and this is between Johnson City and Fredericksburg and Sisterdale, kind of triangulated between there. But the outflow boundary, that's getting pushed westward, and that in and of itself can trigger new showers. It already has just outside of Sisterdale. You see that outflow boundary there kicking off its own showers. That's headed toward Sisterdale, Comfort, and even Bernie, and just really over the next 30 to 60 minutes could generate some showers right along I-10 as that outflow boundary heads westward. The rest of the activity is going to fizzle out as we approach sunset, and especially shortly thereafter. Today is generally confined to the hill country. Tomorrow, I think better chances locally because of the weak frontal boundary that's causing it should be near or overhead Bexar County. So between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. we'll have that best opportunity, which is really a 30 to 40% chance. So scattered or widely separated in nature. Tomorrow, we start the day with the mixture of sun and clouds. That's going to give way to the pop-up downpours here and there, widely separated or scattered in nature. And as I usually say, don't pay close attention to the exact placement, just the generalized coverage of rainfall. Whereas today it was north of Highway 90, tomorrow could be anywhere from the hill country to locations south of Highway 90 because of that frontal boundary that's moving on in. Now, the frontal boundary, it's nothing to get excited about. It's just basically a wind shift line, and it's dropping southward ever so slowly. Just helps to use and utilize some of that instability in the atmosphere. Upper level high anchored off to the west closer to Phoenix, and it's going to stay to the west of us, not be directly overhead. We'll still have some triple digits, but our average high is 97 this time of year. Main thing with this is with the clockwise circulation around that high, we have that northerly steering flow, so we have to watch for the West Texas wild card and the North Texas wild card Sunday night into Monday morning, as there could be a cluster of storms that would head our way. More than likely weakening as it approaches us, but something we'll just watch. 101, our high temperature today, average 97, and the record today, 103, set back in 2013. So this is our 7th triple-digit day so far this year, still behind pace of the past several years, especially 2022. We had 52 100-degree days by this date, and even 2023 we had 36. Right now, at 100 at the airport, Pleasanton 101, Carrizo Springs, Cotulla 102, Kerrville at 95. And where we have the rain in the hill country, temperatures quickly dipping down into the 70s. We'll be 87 at 10 o'clock, and then tomorrow morning we start the day again at 77, 93 at noon, 97 the high temperature. That best chance of rain from 3 p.m. to about 9 p.m. And we're thinking about 97 in town, 96 New Braunfels, 96 Hondo. A little extra cloud cover helping us out today, so not quite as hot, but obviously it's still warm outside. And then triple digits and sunny as we get into Sunday. And actually next week, if that doesn't say August in San Antonio, I don't know what does. Sunny, 100 give or take. Right?
Well, it's right on time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
All right. There's been no shortage of drama over at Cowboys training camp. Something happened between Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Do we know where the lines got crossed or what happened?
Well, you never want your star player to be unhappy, and you certainly don't want them to request a trade like Micah Parsons had. So yeah, we'll break down coming up where things went wrong between Parsons and the Cowboys, and the Houston Texans offense being put to the test. That and more after the break.
Camping with KSAT, powered by Thomas J. Henry.
Well, Micah Parsons posted a 3-page message to fans on X this morning, breaking down his versions of events that led to his decision to request a trade from the Cowboys organization. Parsons is on the final year of his rookie deal and has been seeking a contract extension for the last 2 seasons. However, Parsons says the Cowboys haven't been receptive to negotiations when his agent is present. Now, remember, Dallas does reserve the right to hold Parsons' rights through 2028 with the use of a franchise tag. That would, though, become costly. Now, here's some of what Micah shared in his post. Quote, "I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. And lastly, I've made a tough decision. I no longer want to play for the Dallas Cowboys." Now, it was just last week Larry Ramirez sat down with Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, president, general manager, one-on-one. Here's what Jones said about Parsons before his trade request was made this morning.
What can you share with us with where you guys stand with Micah Parsons and his contract extension?
Well, we don't have much to share here. I would say to our fans, having a holdout with players that are under contract is becoming very commonplace. And it's a question of this is a good time. If it's good for the team, it's a good time for him to have a new contract. The facts are that when his contract runs out, he will get a new contract then. So the question is, do you do it early or not?
Sure.
We're looking at what that means to the future of the team and now, and he's looking at what it means to him. And when those two things narrow down and you can get them in there pretty good, then you usually have a deal. But this is not uncommon going on practically every team in the NFL.
Can you appreciate the fact that he's here, though, and not elsewhere?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, he's showing that he's got team-oriented, team in mind. I appreciate the fact he's here.
They're competitive every single day, the unit we go, so we got to get our stuff in, and we got to make sure that we're trying to, clean up the things that we can control to give ourselves an opportunity to compete against them. But it makes us better. It's what you expect out of this unit, and it's what we expect from ourselves is to go out there and compete too and battle. And it's as hard of a look as we're going to see down after down, and that's a good thing.
As the Texans' revamped offense continues to take shape with Nick Caley calling plays, the unit is going up against one of the toughest defenses in the league during practices. Tonight on the Night Beat, how Caley thinks the new-look offensive line is coming together, which, if you remember, was one of the problem units for Houston in 2024.
It was good and hot, but yeah, we got after it first day in pass, so it just felt good to be back in our element and just getting after it.
The pads are on at the race practice facility as UTSA football practices ramp up ahead of the 2025 season. Hear more from the Roadrunners tonight on the Night Beat. And going back to Micah, reports do indicate that he will be present at training camp moving forward. He doesn't want to accrue any more fines.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Yes,
Thank you.
We will.
Thanks, Mary. Still ahead here at 6 o'clock, our KSAT Q&A is up next. We are talking about the life and legacy of Flaco Jimenez after the break. Conjunto fans across South Texas and the country really have lost a legend in Flaco Jimenez. We told you earlier in the show that he passed away at the age of 86.
And we all know that he's been an icon for decades, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about now with our KSAT Q&A guest. Joining us now is Hector Saldaña, curator of the Whitliff Collection at Texas State University. It's impossible to continue this conversation without first asking you about Flaco's influence.
Flaco's influence, a lot of people may not realize, is worldwide. He was the greatest ambassador, not only of conjunto music, but of San Antonio. If you think about all the places that he played and all the stars that he played with, you know, whether that be Bob Dylan or Willie Nelson, Buck Owens, Ry Cooder, I mean, Los Lobos. I mean, it was across genres and across generations.
You're not just somebody who has studied the impact of his music. You knew him personally. What was your relationship like with him?
Well, we were friends, and I'm a journalist as well, so interviewed him for more than 30 years writing about him. But I met him as a teenager on the West Side. There was a little studio there called Zaz Studios, and it was part of Joey Records, and that's where he made a lot of records. That's where a lot of the Tejano and Conjunto stars recorded their records. And I also have a little rock and roll band. So we were going to go pick up our records. You could get a 45s. And he was sitting under a tree sitting on an ice chest. I remember he was sipping a beer. He was very friendly. He said hello first. I don't think I really realized quite, I mean, I'd heard of Flaco Jimenez, but I didn't have a clue really about how great he was. He was a legend at that time.
Yeah.
And now thinking back, I was thinking about that meeting. He was probably in between takes because we also recorded at Zaz, and so a lot of times you might play some music and then just go outside. They had a basketball court outside, so sometimes you just get your head clear. So very personable is what I remember about Flaco.
30 years is a long time to know
Yes.
somebody, and usually when you know a musician for that much time, you kind of see the evolution and how their styles change, who influences them, how they're influenced. Or how they influence other people. Did you see?
Yes, I think one of the realizations, and again, when we think about someone like Flaco Jimenez, I mean, he was a child of the rock and roll and folk era, as much as Jerry Jeff Walker or Bob Dylan or John Lennon or Joni Mitchell. I mean, that's when he grew up. So he often told me how much he loved listening to country music when he was young. He also was very he had a natural curiosity, and I think that plays a lot of roles of why he was able to kind of go with the flow with different music and try things that were different.
Yeah, you talked about him really having an influence around the world, not just here in South Texas, for people who are very familiar with conjunto and Tejano music. How do you think that he really kind of elevated conjunto or just gave it a little more recognition?
Well, he developed his own sound. He took a sound that was developed here in San Antonio and South Texas, that accordion sound that's based on Mexican rancheras, but also German music and polkas, and kind of gave it a little kick, gave it his own taste. And I think it's just that he was so genuine. I mean, it's hard to explain, but I saw it so many times, like in the recording studio, him with other artists, like when he was working with the Mavericks. I mean, they're literally playing the music. They have not shown him the music, and he's playing it like he knows it perfectly, and it's going down that way. So it takes a very special talent to do that. And then he had, I think also, when we think of Flaco Jimenez, we think of that happy sound and the very personable, that personality that he had, very jovial. But I think sometimes we forget he was a highly intelligent and sensitive person. And the reason, one of the things that will stick with me forever is I would sometimes ask him, well, what was it like to see, the stars of his day, when he was a kid? And he was telling me about Lydia Mendoza, the great Mexican-American singer of the 20th century. And he said, listening to her voice was like hearing the stars fall out of the sky. I mean, and that's poetry, And so Flaco had that sensitivity, and I think I think the great artists have that.
Right.
They're tapping into something that we don't quite understand, but he's tapped into that part.
They see things differently. They
Yes.
feel things differently. And also, I have to ask about the longevity. Not everybody, even if they do have talent, they don't have that something that lets them stick around for so long, in such a long and storied career. What was it that attracted, that his fans were so attracted to?
I think it's that connection to family. That never left him. I mean, his father is, Flaco was a pioneer, but his father was one of the inventors of conjunto music, which is an American art form. It, was formed here in the United States. And his grandfather played music. So I think just that foundation, and then that he could, just managed to play with so many musicians, and then, he kind of reinvented himself over time, where with Doug Sahm, introducing him to the world of Bob Dylan and Dr. John, and then later with the Texas Tornadoes. And I think he just continued to expand his musical horizons, but never forget just a down-home barbecue in San Antonio. I mean, he loved that. He could go from a giant, tour to just, be there on someone's back porch, and you're like, that's Flaco Jimenez. I can't believe it.
Yeah, obviously it's a huge loss, and we're running out of time here. But I do want to talk about how you feel like his influence will live on in the future of conjunto music.
He's inspired a whole generation of musicians, men and women. I mean, from groups like Girl in a Coma, they loved him. And also from a man I've met, young man from Europe, Dwayne Verheyden, a blonde-haired person from the Netherlands that plays exactly like Flaco Jimenez. So I think his music will inspire people. They'll enjoy it. But I think for anyone that wants to tap into that magic, they'll study that just the way that we study like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles. They will look at Flaco's music that way.
Yeah, you can't not be happy
when
you listen to Flaco Jimenez.
And people loved him. People just loved him.
Yeah. Hector, thank you so much for sharing your personal memories and all your insight here. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right, we've got lots more news still ahead here on the News at 6, including Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein. She is now here in Texas. We'll tell you why coming up.
Ghislaine Maxwell has moved from a federal minimum security prison in Florida to a federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas, which is about 2 hours away from Houston.
So Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking and other offenses in connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Here's ABC's Pierre Thomas with more.
Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted sex trafficker and longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein, has been moved from a federal prison in Florida to one in Texas. Officials with the Bureau of Prisons saying Maxwell is now at federal prison camp Bryan in Bryan, Texas, a minimum security camp for women. The reason for the move has not been made clear. Her attorney had no comment. Just last week, Maxwell met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Maxwell's attorney says the two discussed about 100 names associated with Epstein, though the Justice Department has not disclosed anything about that meeting. The transfer comes as Maxwell's attorneys press the Supreme Court to overturn her conviction, while also appealing to Congress to push for a pardon so she can, quote, testify openly and honestly about Epstein. The family of Virginia Giuffre telling ABC News they're shocked about talks of a pardon.
I think, it would be an injustice to not only my sister, but it would be an injustice to all the survivors out there.
Giuffre claims she was approached at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 by Maxwell, who then sex trafficked her to Epstein. Giuffre died by suicide earlier this year. The president this week claimed that Jeffrey Epstein, quote, stole young women who worked at his Mar-a-Lago resort, including Giuffre.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
The words of being stolen as if she was an object, that's really painful to hear as a family.
Giuffre's family calling Maxwell a monster and a predator, saying she deserves to rot in prison for the rest of her life.
If we're not willing to stand behind these young women and children that have been abused, what does that say about us as a country? What does that say to our youth? What does that say to our next generation? My daughter is 11 years old.
Maxwell has always denied Giuffre's accusations. Michelle Franzen, ABC News, New York.
Look outside with live cam. We hit those triple digits today. So how hot are we going to be for the weekend? Adam Caskey will let us know and talk about some rain chances as well next.
Rain chances, triple-digit heat. I want to talk about all of it, no matter how messy it is, with meteorologist Adam Caskey. But I see that you have a recap of last month.
Yeah, July. I mean, August 1st now, so we have to look back at July. The warmest day was actually yesterday at 101. The coolest was a couple mornings ago at 67, and that was actually a record low temperature for the day. Now, what's interesting for July, and this is something we're not accustomed to over the past several summers, is that it was pretty much exactly average temperature-wise. We were 1/10 of a degree cooler than average. So pretty much right there at average. As we get into August, we start the month with an average high of 97. We end the month with an average high of 94. 97, climatologically, the warmest time of year in San Antonio. And we're going to be right around 100 going forward. We could use more rain with the exceptional drought, of course, most of Medina County. And this is where we really missed out on the rain for July. Not much to speak of in Medina County, whereas elsewhere, of course, we had more significant rainfall that was more impactful to the drought situation. Overall, across the state, 20% of Texas considered in drought at this time. So from Austin to Fredericksburg, just about Kerrville, Comfort area, we have some downpours, mostly, and the heaviest rain is in southern Gillespie County. This action could drop a quick 1 to 2 inches. That is not out of the question from this thunderstorm activity. And you take a look at it here as it has developed along 290 and southward as well. The outflow boundary headed toward Comfort and into Kerr County, that itself could actually help kickstart more showers. Now, come sunset, this activity is going to have a hard time holding together. For the most part, it has been splash and dash, and that's what it should continue to be as well. And we go farther westward, northern Valverde County, parts of Edwards County, getting in on some of the heavy rainfall of 1 to 2 inches possible from those slow-moving downpours, but nothing severe and really shouldn't cause any types of flooding. Tomorrow, back to 40% chance in the afternoon. Little better chance here in San Antonio because the frontal boundary that's helping to kickstart the showers, it's north of us today, but tomorrow it's coming into San Antonio. When I say frontal boundary, don't get excited like, you know, a cool front or anything. No, it's just basically a wind shift line that helps to realize some of the instability in the atmosphere, which isn't a whole lot. But again, some scattered activity, and we don't pay close attention to the exact location of some of those showers, just the mere fact of the coverage of the rain and the mere fact that the Futurecast is on board with some of that development. Today it was mostly north of Highway 90. Tomorrow it could be anywhere from the Hill Country all the way down to Cotulla and Tilden. There's that boundary I was talking about, and you see it's no coincidence why the showers and storms have popped up right around that weak frontal boundary that's gradually dropping southward. 102 right now, Kelly Field, 100 Stinson and Converse, 99 at Divine, Rio Medina at 100. New Braunfels 97, down to 87 at 10 o'clock. At midnight, we're at 85 degrees. Then tomorrow, we start the day at 77, 93 at noon. 97 the high. We'll trim off a few degrees because of a little extra cloud cover in the sky and not much of a wind, just variable direction at about 3 to 8 miles per hour. And notice not as many triple digits on the map tomorrow, mid to upper 90s. You go west closer to the Rio Grande, and yeah, we'll have some triple digits, but around town, generally from about 97 or 95 to 98 degrees. And then Sunday with the sunshine, it's back to 100. So more of what we've really been experiencing the past few days. Sunday night into Monday, we're watching for a cluster of storms in North Texas. It's a North Texas wild card, and there's a slight chance that some of that could drift our way. But right now, it's not looking all that probable at the moment. Just something we're watching.
All right, thanks, Adam.
Yes. So here's a look at what's coming up tonight on ABC Primetime. At 7 p.m., Celebrity Jeopardy! And then at 8 p.m., it's 2020. In tonight's episode, we're going to learn how authorities used video footage to discover the identity of an Arkansas senator's killer. We're going to have more on the suspect tonight. And then after that, of course, we have the Night Beat. We'll be right back.
KSAT Sports Now is coming your way at 7 o'clock on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus. Here's what we have in store for you. We're breaking down all of the angles of the Micah Parsons trade request, what led to the star edge rusher demanding out of Dallas. Also, former UIW quarterback Cam Ward, an update on his training camp. Things aren't looking so hot at the moment for Ward. Also, talking Houston Texans, what's going on at their training camp, preview of SAFC's upcoming match this weekend. We also have the second part of a one-on-one with Buddy Johnson, former Texas A&M linebacker, current Dallas Cowboy in his home city. It's a great interview. He shares all the things you want to know about Buddy Johnson. All right, that's coming up for you at 7 o'clock on KSAT Sports Now. We'll be right back.
Quick traffic update before we go here. Let's take you to the camera. I-35 at San Marcos. You can see the lanes headed towards downtown. Slow going right now, going past a lot of orange barrels in that area, dealing with some lane closures and some construction. Just something we've been keeping tabs on during the 6 o'clock show. Adam.
And keeping tabs on some downpours in the hill country. Nothing severe, shouldn't be problematic for any types of flooding. More than anything, just some beneficial types of rain, and downpours that are pretty much splash and dash, but could leave a brief and quick 1 to 2 inches. Another round expected tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thanks, Adam. And thanks for watching the news.
We'll see you on the night beat.